Gregory Anthony Isaacs was a Jamaican reggae musician. Milo Miles, writing in the New York Times, described Isaacs as the most exquisite vocalist in reggae. His nickname was the Cool Ruler. Biography: in his teens, Isaacs became a veteran of the talent contests that regularly took place in Jamaica. In 1968, he made his recording debut with a duet with Winston Sinclair, Another Heartache, recorded for producer Byron Lee. The single sold poorly and Isaacs went on to team up with two other vocalists in the short-lived trio The Concords, recording for Rupie Edwards and Prince Buster. The trio split up in 1970 and Isaacs launched his solo career, initially self-producing recordings and also recording further for Edwards. In 1973 he teamed up with another young singer, Errol Dunkley, to start the African Museum record label and shop, and soon had a massive hit with My Only Lover, credited as the first lovers rock record ever made. He recorded for other producers to finance further African Museum recordings, having a string of hits in the 3 years that followed, ranging from ballads to roots reggae, including All I Have Is Love, Lonely Soldier, Blacker Kill Black, Extra Classic, and his cover version of Dobby Dobson's Loving Pauper. In 1974 he began working with producer Alvin Ranglin, and that year he hit his first Jamaican #1 single with Love Is Overdue. Isaacs recorded for many of Jamaica's top producers during the 1970s, including Winston "Niney" Honus, Gussie Clarke, Lloyd Campbell, Glenn Brown, Harry Muddy, Roy Cousins, Sidney Crooks and Lee Scratch Perry. By the late 1970s, Isaacs was one of the biggest reggae performers in the world, regularly touring the US and the UK, and only challenged by Dennis Brown and Bob Marley. Between 1977 and 1978, Isaacs again teamed up with Alvin Ranglin, recording a string of hits including Border, and #1 for Ranglin's Gigi's label. International stardom seemed assured in 1978 when Isaacs signed to the Virgin Records offshoot Frontline Records, and appeared in the film Rockers, in which he performed Slave Master. The Cool Ruler and soon Ford albums, however, failed to sell as well as expected, although they are now considered among his best work. In 1981, he made his first appearance at the Reggae Sunsplash Festival, and he moved on to the Charisma Records offshoot Pre, who released his The Lonely Lover and More Gregory albums along with a string of increasingly successful singles including Tune In, Permanent Lover, Wailing Rudy, and Tribute to Waddy. He signed to Island Records and released the record that finally saw him break through to a wider audience, Night Nurse, the title track from his first album for the label. Although Night Nurse was not a chart hit in either the UK or US, it was hugely popular in clubs and received heavy radio play, and the album reached number 32 in the UK. This success for Isaacs coincided with drug problems with cocaine, which saw him serve a 6-month prison sentence in Kingston in 1982 for possession of unlicensed firearms. Isaacs claimed that he had the weapons only for protection, but it emerged that this was his 27th arrest and that Isaacs had become involved in drug dealing and had become addicted to crack cocaine. He celebrated his release from prison with his second album for Island, Out D. Isaacs was featured in the 1982 documentary Land of Look Behind. When his contract with Island ended, Isaacs returned in 1984 with the Cool Ruler Come Again single, and began a period of prolific recording, working with producers including Prince Jammy, Hugh Redman James, Bobby Digital, Tad Dawkins and Steely and Clevie, maintaining a consistent standard despite the volume of work produced. Isaacs then built a strong relationship with Gussie Clarke of the Music Works label. They began with Isaacs' 1985 album Private Beach Party, and had a massive hit with Rumours in 1988, which was followed by further popular singles including Mind You Dis, Roughneck, Too Good to Be True, and Report to Me. The association with Clarke continued into the early 1990s, teaming up with singers including Freddie McGregor, Ninjaman and J.C. Lodge. He duetted with Buzz Hammond on the 1993 Philip Fatis Burrell-produced One Good Turn, Burrell also producing Isaacs' 1994 album Midnight Confidential. In the 1990s the African Museum label continued to release all of Isaacs' music, and that of artists he produced. In 1997 Simply Red covered Night Nurse, and had a hit with it. Isaacs continued to record and perform live in the 2000s. In 2005 Lady Saw produced another version of Night Nurse with her toasting over the original lyrics. Isaacs' drug addiction had a major impact on his voice, with most of his teeth falling out as a result. Isaacs said of his addiction in 2007, "Drugs are a debasing weapon. It was the greatest college ever, but the most expensive school fee ever paid €1 the cocaine high school. I learnt everything, and now I've put it on the side." He also performed at the ICC Cricket World Cup 2007 inauguration at Jamaica. In 2007 he collaborated with the Spanish rap group Folklóricos/Rafael Lekoski album Don Duel Inspira. In 2008, after some 40 years as a recording artist, Isaacs released a new studio album Brand New Me, which was nominated for the Grammy Awards for 2010. The album received positive reviews from critics, such as this review from Reggae Vibes, "Gregory is back, and how?" Brand New Me is a very suitable album title for the Cool Ruler's new album. He is back in a different style, more or less like we were used to from this great lovers and roots artist. This was followed in 2009 by the album My Kind of Lady. In 2010, Gregory Isaacs put out the last of his albums to be released while he was still living. Isaacs Meets Isaac, with Zimbabwean reggae singer, King Isaac. In November 2010, Isaacs Meets Isaac was nominated for Best Reggae Album for the 2011 Grammy Awards, giving Gregory Isaacs his fourth Grammy nomination, and Zimbabwe's King Isaac, his first. Death. After a long battle with lung cancer, Isaacs died on October 25, 2010 at his home in South London. A memorial service was held on November 20 at Kingston's National Indoor Sports Centre, including a musical tribute from artists including Lloyd Parks and We the People Band, Ken Booth, Freddie McGregor, Shaggy, Judy Mowat, Mavado, the Tamlins and Bongo Herman, before his remains were interred at the Dovecot Cemetery. Legacy. The Gregory Isaacs Foundation was set up on July 15, 2011 by his wife June, with the intention of continuing Isaacs' charitable work. A year later a free concert was staged featuring artists such as U-Roy, Big Youth, and the Mighty Diamonds, to raise funds for 2 schools. Discography. More than 500 Gregory Isaacs albums have been released during his career, many being compilations. Studio albums of original material are listed below: In Person Trojan, All I Have Is Love Trojan, The Best of Volume 1 GGs, Extra Classic African Museum Mr. Isaacs DEB, Cool Ruler Frontline, Soon Ford Frontline, Slum Burning Sounds, Gregory Isaacs Meets Ronnie Davis Plant, Showcase Taxi, Lonely Lover More Gregory The Best of Volume 2 GGs, Night Nurse Island Mango, The Sensational Gregory Isaacs Vista, Out D. Island Mango, Let's Go Dancing, Judge Not Griant Sleeves, Private Beach Party Griant Sleeves and RAS, Easy Tads, Double Dose Blue Track, All I Have Is Love 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 Tads, Victim VP, Watchman of the City Ruit, Come Along, Live and Love, Red Rose for Gregory Griant Sleeves and RAS, Warning Firehouse, Feature Attraction VP for Mixing Lab Records, No Contest Griant Sleeves and VP, IOU Griant Sleeves and RAS, On the Dance Floor Heartbeat, Call Me Collect RAS, Set Me Free VP, Digital B and Vineyard, No Intention VP, Boom Shot Sharnaki, State of Shock RAS, Past and Future VP, Pardon Me. RAS, Core. Label Unknown. Can't Stay Away VP Inxminator, Rudy Boo Star Trail, Unattended Absent Pow Wow and Griant Sleeves, Unlocked RAS, Midnight Confidential Griant Sleeves for Xminator Records, Dreaming Heartbeat, Not a One-Man Thing RAS, Private Lesson Heartbeat, Come Closer Mr. Cool VP, Maximum Respect House of Reggae, Hold Tight Heartbeat, Hardcore Hits I Cuss, Dance Curfew, Acid Jazz A Euro with Dread Flimstone, Kingston 14 Denham Town Jamaican Vibes, Do Lords Xminator, Happy as a King, Raven, New Dance Prestige, Turn Down the Lights Artists Only, So Much Love Joe Gibbs Music, Future Attraction VP, Further and Son, To Be One A Euro. Gregory Isaacs and Son, It Go Now, To Be One, Life's Lonely Road, Give It All Up Heartbeat, Rat Patrol African Museum, Masterclass Griant Sleeves for Black O Dread Records, Revenge POT, Substance Free Vision Sounds, Come Take My Hand Mun Mun, Hold Tight Mafia and Fluxy, Brand New Me African Museum, My Kind of Lady Rude Productions, Isaacs Meets Isaac with King Isaac Music, Notes. References, Barrow, Steve and Dalton, Peter The Rough Guide to Reggae, 3rd Eden, Rough Guides, ISBN 1-84353-329-4, Kiviat, Steve Gregory Isaacs, Washington City Paper, 6 December 12, 1996, Larkin, Colin The Virgin Encyclopedia of Reggae, Virgin Books, ISBN 0-7535-0242-9 Miles, Milo Recordings View. Gregory Isaacs, The Ruler of Reggae, The New York Times, February 2, 1992, Perry, Andrew The Cool Ruler of Reggae Makes a Comeback, The Daily Telegraph, January 11, 2007, Thumspan, Dave Reggae and Caribbean Music, Backbeat Books, ISBN 0-87930-655-6, External links, Partial discography at Reggaeville, Gregory Isaacs Biography at Reggae Vibes, RAS Records Discography, Gregory Isaacs Selective Discography at Strictly Vibes.